What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. And in tonight's video, yes, see, I flipped it on here. I flipped it on you guys. Usually I say today's video. I said tonight's video because I'm putting this one out a little bit later. But depending on when you're watching this, it could be today's video. So how you doing? Today we're talking about a Bleacher, or tonight. Gosh dang it. See, now I'm messing up. Today we're talking about tonight. Whoa. Okay. You know what? Let's restart. Tonight we're talking about Now y'all got me confused. Why you had to do this to me? All right, I'm just minding my own business, and now I'm confused. In tonight's video, we are going to be talking about a Bleacher Report article, so let's get it started. Welcome in, everybody, to another video. Glad you guys are here, and yes, we're looking at this Bleacher Report article. Now, we've done this before. Okay, we've looked at an article that said, hey, the Lions should go sign this guy this offseason for the 2020 season. I can't even remember who that player was. I don't think it was Markus Golden, but I can't remember who it was. And I was like, okay, so I reacted to that. And today we're looking at what Bleacher Report thinks the Detroit Lions should do this offseason, and that is to sign Markus Golden. Now, before we get this thing started, I got to give you guys a little bit of a disclaimer. If you're looking for how I think Markus Golden is on the field, you know, his film, if you're looking for that kind of thing, like how he is as a player, you know, what the strengths, his weaknesses are, his stats, stuff like that, this probably isn't necessarily the video for you. I mean, I may touch on a few stats, but if you want like a full out film video, I will put a card right here. I know YouTube's going to remove those soon, I'm pretty sure, so that's kind of sad, but it should still be active. There should be the link to the video where I go look at Markus Golden's film. So click on that, or if it's not there, I guess I'll put it in the comment section below. So go check out that, okay? Because if that's what you're here for, then that's not exactly what this video is going to be about. Instead, today's video is really going to be looking at Markus Golden and talking about whether or not Detroit Lions should actually go sign him. All right, we're just going to leave it like that. We're not going to be talking about his film as much, right? I'm not breaking it down in today's video. I talk about what I liked and what I didn't like a little bit, but we're not going to be breaking him down in today's video. We're just going to be reacting to this article and talking about whether or not it makes sense for the Detroit Lions to bring in Markus Golden. And then at the end, you guys can go in the comment section and say, yes, I would sign him, or no, I would not. So before the rookie signings, right, before you signed your rookie draft class, I would say the latest estimates of the salary caps were out, and it had the Detroit Lions ranked third in the most salary cap remaining with $29.4 million. That was before they started signing their rookie class. Now the Detroit Lions have started to sign the rookie class. They only have two players left, and one is Jayshon Cornell, and the other one is your first round pick, Jeffrey Okudah. Okudah is going to be the most expensive. I believe it's like a $5 to $7 million cap hit for the first year, and then Cornell's not even $1 million. So we'll see if they, even sign him. But those are the two guys they have left. They made the other signings, but it's projected that after the Detroit Lions make all their signings, that 29 would go to about $16.6 million. So let's just say, for example, the Detroit Lions have $16.6 million. They signed all the rookies, and should the Detroit Lions go out and bring in Markus Golden? Now, obviously, we don't know how much Markus Golden is going to want. I haven't really heard a lot about Markus Golden, getting tons of interest from other teams. I think at one point we heard that the Lions may have interest, but we really haven't heard anything since about Markus Golden. So I don't know how high his price tag is going to be. I don't think it'll be super high. He was on a prove-it deal last year for the New York Giants, which wasn't a crazy deal, right? It's a one-year deal. And now he's in a situation where if he isn't signed by July 22nd, he will end up back with the New York Giants for pretty much an even bigger contract than the year before. So that's what it is right now. If the team wants to bring in Markus Golden, they have to do it before July 22nd, which is like a little over a week. So there's not tons of time to bring in Markus Golden if that's what you want to do. So automatically there's a little bit of a deadline, and Detroit Lions are really interested in bringing in Markus Golden. They have to make it happen pretty soon. Now, here was Bleacher Report's reasoning for the Detroit Lions to bring in Markus Golden. They said this: the Detroit Lions should take a flyer on Golden before the July 22nd deadline, as they sorely need a boost in pass rush production. Last season, the Lions ranked 31st in passing yards allowed, while amassing just 28 sacks as a team. While Golden is an elite sack artist, he did post double-digit sacks for the second time in his career last season. Financially, Detroit probably wouldn't have to commit much. Find out if Golden can make it a third time in 2020, right? So that's kind of my point. I don't think it would be a super high contract, which is good. Like, that's one of the biggest cons about him that I like. And then they say UFA tender only guarantees Golden 110% of his 2019 salary. If he remains with the Giants, that would put his 2020 salary at roughly $4.12 million, according to Paul Schwartz of the New York Post. Any offer notably higher should be enough to get Golden attention. So if we do have $16.6 million, we know Bob Quinn's probably going to want to save around 10. So maybe you offer him $5 million for a year, maybe $5.5 million for a year, and then possibly you can bring in Markus Golden. Now, that alone is the reason I'm really interested in Markus Golden, is because when I listed my top available edge rushers still out there, I had Markus Golden at like number 3. He's easily in my top 5. However, I don't think he's the best pass rusher available. Now, it depends what you're looking for. So Markus Golden is about 260 pounds, which is honestly the weight of pretty much all of our linebackers at this point. I mean, now even Jared Davis is almost bulked up to that level. So he's 260 pounds, 6'2", a little bit shorter than most of our, defensive ends, because in Detroit Lions defense, right, we usually have 2 to 3 defensive linemen, usually 3 down linemen, I would say, in a base set with 4 linebackers, usually just base, 3-4, or the nickel, you kind of move around, right? We play multiple D, we play a lot of different things, but you have your run stuffer, defensive tackle, you got another guy kind of like Deshaun Hand, and then you have your Trey Flowers who's going nowhere. So I don't know if he's necessarily big enough to play on the D-line. Like, he's 4 inches shorter than Austin Bryant, but he basically is the same weight. So maybe he could hold his own. When you watch him with the New York Giants, you saw him come on the line and off the line. He just blitzed constantly. Kind of remind me a little bit of Devon Kennard, because that was his role, was just to get to the quarterback. Now, this offseason, the Detroit Lions let Devon Kennard go, but they brought in Julian Okwara. So if they brought him in, right, would he win the jack role? Would that take away time from Julian Okwara? But if we've seen Austin Bryant play, a similar position last year, I think the Detroit Lions could possibly find a place for him as a rotational player. And the thing that I love here is that you're not signing him to a long-term deal where you're locked into it, because we don't know the future for Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia, right? You're not stuck with this guy for a long time. If he doesn't pan out well, you know what? It's okay. He's on a short-term deal anyways. And at the same time, at least last year, he did show you that he could get some production. Personally, for me, I didn't love it. I didn't feel like he had a lot of pass rushing moves. He didn't seem just like the best pass rusher I've seen, right? He didn't have a lot of moves, not a lot of variety there. For me, personally, when I look at Markus Golden, I don't get super excited. I don't think he's an elite sack artist, like Bleacher Report says he's not an elite sack artist, because he's really not. But like they said, he was able to get 10 sacks last season, and it really just depends on what Matt Patricia wants to do with this defense. Because if you bring in a guy like Markus Golden, for me, he's a situational pass rusher that's not going to be on there to drop back in coverage, because even though he has a little bit of athletic ability, I think, to do it, he didn't do it a lot with New York. So I feel like if you're bringing him in, you're not expecting him to drop much into coverage, and when he is on the field, you're basically just bringing him to the quarterback. Now, for the New York Giants, he played in a ton of snaps, and for the Detroit Lions, I don't necessarily know if he played in that many snaps. I feel like this is a guy, if it's a $5 million deal for a year, he'd be on and off the field, right? That's kind of what he would be for the Lions. Maybe third downs, he would come on the field. Maybe passing downs, he would come on, try to get some pressure. And it's always good to have depth, because we saw last year, depth can really go way fast, right? You get a couple of injuries and all of a sudden you're scrambling. So if you have a guy like this on the roster, you can move him in. Maybe if someone's not playing well, you could pretty much rely, because he's at least been in the league for a few years, you can expect him to do a few things. While he's not the best pass rusher out there, he's not as good as Clowney, obviously, but he's way cheaper. He's not as good as Griffin, but he's a different type of player. He's more of like a linebacker, a little bit smaller. Everson Griffin's just a defensive lineman. Like, you're not taking this dude off the defensive line. You're not dropping this guy into coverage whatsoever. He's just, a defensive lineman, a defensive end for Minnesota in that 4-3 defense. So for a guy like Markus Golden, I wouldn't have a problem. Actually, for Bleacher Report here, I actually have no problem with Detroit Lions if they wanted to make this move. You know what? I'd actually be happy. I would welcome Markus Golden as a Detroit Lion, and I would actually be really happy with the addition of Markus Golden, because I just like the contract. I like the contract situation, right? If I'm putting big money into a player, I need this player to pan out, and I need to like a lot of things. For me, Markus Golden isn't the best, but he's solid. He's pretty young, not super expensive. He's been relatively healthy, and with all that combined, he showed us that he can get sacks. Not at the highest level, not the best pass rush, but he can do it. He's a pretty good tackler, right? He's a pretty secure tackler. So for me, personally, I would be completely down with bringing in Markus Golden, especially if it's like a 1-year, $5 million deal. Absolutely, right? Add to that pass rush. My thing is, he's not going to be an all-down type of player. I really don't see that. And for the Detroit Lions, right, if you're not going to bring in anybody else, why not bring in him? Now, if you're planning to make a big splash, then obviously you probably can't do that, right? If you're planning to go get Clowney, then that's probably not the option. But if you want like a budget, a budget pass rusher, just another guy, because you always say you can't have enough pass rushers. He does have more athletic ability and more versatility than a guy like Everson Griffin, right? You can back him up to, different positions. You can probably move him around the defense, around that front seven, unlike Everson Griffin, who's pretty much just going to stick at one spot for you. So he has a little bit more versatility. He's kind of young, and he's, if he plays well, maybe you bring him back. Maybe Matt Patricia falls in love with him. Maybe he brings him back. Plus, we've gotten a good player from the Giants before, right? We've had some success bringing in former Giants. Snack Saracen, his first year was really good. So, I don't know, man. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I could definitely see bringing in Markus Golden, right? He's not my favorite player. Don't think he's the best pass rusher out there. But when I look at that contract, I say, okay, I could rock with that. And personally, I don't know where else the Detroit Lions would go this offseason, because they don't bring in Everson Griffin, and obviously they don't bring in Jadeveon Clowney, and they don't bring in Markus Golden. I really don't think you need to bring in a cornerback, right? We've heard some stuff about cornerbacks. I don't think you need another cornerback. There's really no other position where I'm saying, hey, let's go get help there. Maybe, you go get a defensive tackle, but still, I think the defensive tackle has enough depth. I really do. I think the problem with the defensive line, the pass rusher position, it's not that you don't have the guys, it's that you don't know what you're going to get in those guys, right? You have really young players that are either new or they just haven't played many games at all, and you don't know what you're going to get. You're expecting that they can play well, and if you look at it on paper, you're probably saying, okay, this is where he came from, this is where he came from. We're going to be fine. But we haven't seen enough of these guys because of injury reasons and stuff like that. At least Markus Golden Golden you've seen before, and you at least pretty much know what you're going to get. For me, defensive tackle, I don't think you need to go anywhere there. I feel like Nick Williams, Danny Shelton, John Pennicini, I feel like you have a pretty solid group there, but obviously, you know, you could add more. So for me personally, man, I think I'd be fine with this. I'd be fine with signing Markus Golden, especially if, you know, if the deal is pretty cheap like that. I haven't heard teams show tons of interest, so I don't think it'd be super expensive. So let me know your thoughts, comments below, man. Would you like to bring in Markus Golden? I'd be down with it. I'd be down with it. Plus, it'd be some news. Thank you, bro, for watching, and I'm out.